Good morning, everyone. We'll give it another minute or two here to see. We have some others that are waiting to get logged in. It looks like we're getting a few more, so we'll give it about one more minute and then we can get started. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started here. So again, welcome and thank you for joining me this morning. I'm Lisa Lyon and I serve as the Treasury Management Director at Pillar Bank. I have over 35 years experience in banking and have had the privilege of supporting Pillar Bank customers for the past 11 of those years. So this morning we'll be exploring Treasury Management Service solutions. Those solutions are designed to support a business's day-to-day financial and operational needs, especially as we all navigate through the ever-evolving landscape of payments, technology, and fraud. Constantly moving and changing. So throughout the presentation, please feel free to utilize the Q&A feature for any questions that you have. We'll address all of the questions at the conclusion of the session. If there's lots of questions and we're not able to cover them all today, I'll reach out to you directly for further discussion on those. And just to make sure everyone is aware, the webinar is being recorded. So now let's begin this morning with an overview of the topics we'll be covering. So as a small business owner, it is essential for you and the bank to stay up to date on the latest trends and payments and transactions. As your customers move away from traditional forms of payments and move more towards the digital options, the businesses, banks, anyone revolving around accepting or processing payments need to keep an eye on the new ways that those customers and consumers are paying. So today's topics, we're going to talk about the top 3 transaction trends and why they may matter to you as a business, merchant services, the card acceptance or card processing, digital banking with Pillar Bank, and what solutions we have under that umbrella that can help you with processing payments and accepting payments, as well as another tool we have of remote deposit capture And then just a quick tip on business account structures that come from industry recommendations. So the top 3 transaction trends that we all want to look at. The first one is, as we all probably are aware, that the card usage has soared, especially since the pandemic or during the pandemic when people began using their debit and credit cards in place of cash. It was a little bit more sanitary. And now customers are still using those cards, probably some due to cleanliness, but more because it's just become an ingrained habit of using those cards. So customers that preferred cash in the past are now preferring to use cards because of how fast and easy they are. Additionally, unlike cash, cards come with a built-in transaction record, a receipt of sorts. And if the customer loses their card, they don't necessarily lose the funds that they would if it was actual cash. This graph here shows 2020 through 2022 and how card usage has increased. What I found most interesting was off to the side where it breaks down the generations. And we can see that the younger generation coming into the marketplace that is increased has a much larger percentage of card use than the millennials or the Gen X. So that's only going to continue to increase and grow. So something that we want to pay attention to as far as a business owner. So what does this mean to you as a business owner? If you fall behind and don't have a way to easily and safely accept your customers' debit or credit cards because they prefer using them, they're unlikely to go back to pre-pandemic. So if you are not accepting cards, you're missing out on a big slice of the pie that's out there of $9.43 trillion that come through those card processing payments. And by telling your customers, sorry, cash only, you're probably going to cause some friction with your customers, and they may not continue to do business with you in the future. So if we look then at the cash, where we used to say cash was king, that's now used in a different terminology than actual cash on hand and paying in cash. So with the rise of the digital payments and the consumer's preference to use cards, it's not real surprising that the cash is really no longer king. You can see this is from 16 to 21 and how that's decreased as far as cash and cards have increased. Another payment type that has had some large increases is ACH. I know that several of you that are on today utilize ACH currently. So it's an electronic payment service that Pillar Bank offers through their digital banking. So we'll take a look at some of the information on that. So the ACH network in 2023 processed 31.5 billion payments, over $80 trillion worth of payments in 2023. And that marks the 11th consecutive year in which those payments increased by at least $1 trillion. So that continues to increase as well, any digital type payment. And of course, Pillar Bank does have that service for you to take advantage of. This trend is important to understand as a business owner because it shows that consumers are comfortable sending and receiving transactions via bank transfer as well. So it's convenient to set up payments. It's automated for the consumer side as well. If you have a service that's you're regularly providing a service to, I see Gemma on here. So a cleaning type service or something, or you're doing that on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, to set up that ACH payment would work well for not only that customer, but also you as a business owner to help automate, continue that cash flow stability, not waiting for checks or different payments to process and clear. And it avoids that friction. So when we talk about friction, friction refers to any aspect of the payment process that makes it more difficult, time consuming, or inconvenient to complete a transaction. So as a business owner, it's important to stay on top of the emerging trends that are in the payment world. That'll help reduce that potential for friction, increase your customer satisfaction, and actually improve your bottom line. So to reduce friction is to provide that best customer experience, offering all payment options to your customers. Um, we might think that accepting cash means fewer fees when you consider, accepting cards, and we know that they have fees associated with those. But if you are refusing to take cards and only requiring cash, you're going to potentially lose customers. That's where that friction is. So to stay competitive, it's important to work with a partner like Pillar Bank who can help give you those tools that you will need to integrate those various payment solutions. So the first one we're going to talk about is merchant services, because the debit and credit card payment is one of the most commonly and largest used payment processing in our environment right now. So we go back to that primary transaction trend of the heightened card usage and look at the key considerations. We'll want to see what should you look at when you're trying to select a card processing program and or partner. Some of the most important things for you to consider, and what's on top of everyone's mind, would be card processing or monthly service fees associated with that. So keep in mind the actual card processing fees are federally regulated. So those should not be negotiable. That would be one sign for you to look at, is to know and understand what the regulated fees are. So if you're investigating with a company, to know that they're not attempting to assess a higher fee than that. What type of monthly service fees? Make sure you're looking at, are there any other hidden fees that you're not aware of? Is there limits? What the industry now refers to as junk fees. The other piece you'd want to look at is the security feature. Secure as far as compliance data. We all know that there's breaches and things that happen. So you want to feel comfortable with the security that's provided by the company you're looking at. Another thing is a contract. Is an actual contract required? Some do no contracts, 3 years, 5 years. Same with equipment and setup. What is the cost of the equipment? What are they offering you for equipment? And what would be the cost to set that up? The primary piece that you want to consider when looking at equipment is, would that equipment be transferable to another company in the future? So there's many options out there now for card processing programs. The fintech type companies that are popping up everywhere. There's a lot of companies that can process cards. And some will sell you equipment to function with theirs that's tied in specifically to them. So it's non-transferable to another company down the road if you've decided that you no longer want to work with that card processing company. So that's one thing to look at. You can spend a lot of money on this type of equipment, and you want to make sure that you're able to use that for its lifespan. The same with contracts, making sure what do those contracts look like and how long, and what is the ongoing support, customer service, training when you need assistance. The best way to learn what type of customer service or support they have, is to try to find references to talk to, someone who's using the service currently. Of course, you can ask the company for references. Um, and I'm sure we all feel as though a lot of times they're going to send you, references that are really happy, or maybe we don't even trust that they're real. So if you're aware, or ask if there's businesses around your area or your community that are using their program, that would be the best way for you to reach out and get honest references as to what that customer service looks like. So Pillar Bank does have a partnership with a payment processing company, Wind River Payments. They are our partner, and how they differentiate from others is they are a full partner with their customer as well. So they're not, get you in a contract, and then forget about you, and you're not a number. Um, they go well beyond that. Their mission and vision values are the same as Pillar Bank. That's why we've chosen to partner with them. They actually do not have any contracts required, because they are positive that you will like the experience with them and trust them as your payment provider partnership. So they assign a specific relationship manager to you. They know you, they learn about your business. They regularly are proactive in comparing rates when there's changes with the federal regulation as far as rates go. Your account, if you're a growing business, they're going to see, are there other things that you need to change? Is there a program we need to change to fit for your growing needs? Their data security, they have, not only do they comply with PCI compliance, regulatory compliance, they do also have many in-house experts, and training, ongoing support to you and your staff at any time. They'll come to your place of business. They'll do it over phone. They'll do it through Teams or Zoom, whatever works for you and what you need. So if anyone is interested in talking with them, doing a comparison to a current company you're working with, or it's something new that you want to investigate, they will also sit down and go through your current merchant service provider statements, help you understand what those fees look like and what that processing is. So you can just let me know. If you want to use the Q&A, you can let me know there if you're interested in learning more from Wind River, and we'll get something set up for that. So next, we're going to do a short poll before we go into our digital banking and the tools that Pillar Bank has to offer you. So we're going to do a poll. The first question that we'll have you answer is, are you currently using Pillar Bank digital banking? So we'll have that poll posted, and we'll give you a minute or two to respond to the poll. Okay. Looks like most of you have responded, and it looks like those that have responded are currently using our digital banking, so that's excellent. The next poll question is a multiple choice, and that is just, what services are you utilizing through our digital banking? So we'll put that one out there. So good. It looks like, yeah, many of you are using different services through our digital banking. So you've got some good knowledge there, taking advantage of that. All right. Well, thank you for completing the poll. And we'll move on then here to our digital banking. So as it looks like many of you are familiar, our digital banking is a safe and secure way to access your money 24/7. Provides you a much simple process to get in and monitor your account on a regular basis. So the first thing we're going to look at digital banking is our cash management ACH service. This is, if you remember, one of the top three trends. Was the third trend we talked about in processing payments electronically through ACH. So first, we're going to look at how you can send payments yourself as a business owner, because we can send and we can receive. So first, we'll just kind of focus in on the types of payments that you can send through ACH. Again, it's a very safe and secure way to pay vendors and employees. You're not having to, simple, convenient, efficient. Some of the reasons for that, you're not having to write out a check, take the time to do that. Have those check authorized signers available to sign those, get those paper checks distributed to your employees. It saves time and is more convenient for your employee. They're not having to make a trip to the bank to deposit, or potentially using mobile deposit on their phone and having to possibly wait to have access to those funds. And so then that reduces costs. There's costs involved in processing those paper checks. You're mailing those paper check payments. You're going through the USPS, postage. We have warnings out there now from USPS not to use their blue boxes. So because there's theft, so you have the potential of that. So if it does get lost or stolen in the mail, then you're going through and placing a stop payment. You may receive late fees for whom you're paying. So the ACH to make payments in this electronic fashion is again, yeah, it's providing that safety. It's very simple, convenient, and then the efficiency and cost savings. So if we look down at the bottom of this screen, it's referring to the AFP's payment cost benchmarking survey from 2022. And they're showing that ACH payments for businesses overall cost would be 26 cents to 50 cents in comparison to issuing a paper check. The average cost can be between $4 and $20. Again, depending on, the type of checks you're purchasing, where obviously in the nation this is happening, type of postage. Are you having to place a stop payment, replace a check, late fees? And the same with ACH payments, depending on the pricing that financials that you're working with, what they're charging, what that fee would be. But big difference between cost savings in issuing ACH payments versus checks. Then if we at advantages of collecting payments from customers. Again, very simple. It streamlines, again, even invoicing. You may still want to send your customer an invoice. Billing, if you're collecting from them on a monthly or a regular basis, but you're not waiting for that payment. You're obtaining that payment immediately. That's safe. Again, you're not having to worry about return checks, posting errors, because you're bringing those checks into the bank and maybe the the handwriting isn't clear, or the numerical dollar amount doesn't match the written dollar amount, or just the inaccuracies that can come from handwriting paper checks. So improving your cash flow, if you're collecting payments, you decide when you're going to collect it. You're not waiting for that check to come in from your customer. And efficient. Again, you're not having to bring those deposits to the bank or process those payments in a different way. So the types of businesses that we have using these types of programs, specifically for on the receiving side, anyone who's providing a service, if it's a cleaning service, we have some medical chiropractic type services that it's a regular monthly type service that they're providing. Churches, we have many churches that use this, both for paying direct deposit and accepting, donations, any type of nonprofit that's going to accept donations. They can set these up on if it's a reoccurring type donation. Memberships for gyms and things. Rentals, we have apartment rentals that utilize us to receive their monthly rent from their renters, rent payments, storage units, whatever it may be. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea of the types of businesses that we see the most using this service and how they would use it. And, again, just like with the MasterCard, Visa card, Discover card, your cash acceptance programs, payment processing, at the different fintechs and all the companies that are out there for you to choose from. There's many more fintechs now, including QuickBooks, and different accounting versions like that are offering ACH type services for direct deposit for employees. So just to kind of differentiate Pillar Bank from some of those fintech types, again, a lot of times there's those hidden fees, or they just kind of have fees for every step or every piece of the ACH process. So Pillar Bank has a flat monthly fee for this service. You can do as many ACH batch files as you want. There's not a price or a cost per batch. It's that flat fee that covers any payments you're processing through the system during that month. Many fintechs, for instance, if we go into direct deposit, they will have a flat fee for the month for that direct deposit. They will charge a fee per employee you're paying, as well as per batch. So if you're paying weekly, just on average, say that's 4 pay periods. So you're paying a flat fee. You're paying 4 different fees for those batches, and then you're paying a fee for each one of those employees times 4. So these can add up. That's, again, we're in the industry, they refer to those as hidden junk fees. So again, if you are using a program out there outside of Pillar Bank, we invite you to, come and compare. Let's make sure that you're saving as much money as you can. The other thing is that Pillar Bank, we're going to be here to provide you customer service support. So if you need assistance going through the program, we're here to help you. If there's questions or issues, we're here to help you. Security risks, compromise of privacy, we're right here to help with that. And or you have a trust, you have built relationships with us to trust where we're at as far as privacy and security. Your fintechs don't have physical branches. So if you did want to come in and communicate with it's not really building a relationship like we can with you, to know your needs, and be able to help you over the phone, email, in person, in branch, out of branch. And also your growth capabilities. We can help. We're going to see if you're growing and what demands your customers have or you have, and be able to work with you on that more so than those fintechs. The other option that we do have through our digital banking is bill pay. And there are 5 reasons why you may want to use bill pay. And that would be versus the ACH. If you have a vendor who doesn't accept ACH or the ability to share payment account information, this is when you would want to use bill pay. Or if you're paying your utility bills, very simple way to go out and pay your utility bills, your credit card payments. Again, you're not having to take the time to write out a check and send it in the mail, pay for postage, get it to the post office, make sure it's not lost or stolen, all those things that we've talked about that are associated with issuing physical checks. You can set up recurring payments with bill pay as well. So just another easy access way for you to pay a bill, enter your amount, hit submit, and things are done for you. You can stay more organized and work much more efficiently. A new service that we'll be having soon here within the next few weeks is a simplified invoicing program. It's through Autobooks. The service itself, the invoicing, it's fully customizable. So you can have your logo, you can have messages or, sales statements, whatever you want to add to your invoicing. The pricing for this is fully transparent. So along with it's not just an invoicing, but it gives the opportunity for your customer then to pay immediately from that invoice. So they'll get the invoice via email. They can pay via debit card, credit card, or even the ACH. The different fees are, you're made aware of those types of fees right from the beginning. And there are ways that Autobooks can help you determine what that dollar fee will look like from the invoice amount and how you can maybe share some of that with your customer. The other big positive for this is that the payments go directly to your bank account. And typically that's within, 2 business days. That's the industry standard for those automatic type payments. But one example I like to use is PayPal, because many people are familiar with PayPal. If you've done any invoicing through a PayPal type provider, the payments then come into your PayPal account. And then you need to log back into PayPal and actually move those funds from PayPal to your bank account. This program, it's accessible right through your digital banking with Pillar Bank. You can set up the invoices, the payments that are made by your customer will process through directly to your account. So there's not having to go into different programs to do the invoice, transfer the funds. It's all right there. So it's a new exciting service that we're excited to have to offer out there, especially for some of the smaller businesses who are using, a PayPal type version. There's no monthly service fees. It's just going to be those card or those payment processing fees. So they do have other services that they will market to you, some simplified accounting programs and things similar to QuickBooks too. So those would be there for you to investigate as well. The next piece that's accessible to through your digital banking, but is of big concern to literally everyone, is fraud prevention tools and or just fraud in general. 63% of businesses are victims of check fraud specifically. And I know that many of us are aware that that's happening right around us too. It's not just happening in big cities. That is part of the reason why the USPS has put the warnings out for the blue boxes, is there's theft from those mailboxes, and typically hit those business customers. Normally, because a lot of times the businesses, you are sending out a lot of checks at once, perhaps. So it's a lot more to keep track of, to monitor if those checks are clearing, when they're clearing, what was submitted. That's why the fraudsters like to pick on the business owners and utilize them to steal from and complete those fraudulent transactions. So we do have tools to stop the fraud before it happens. So we can go in and look at those a little bit more. Looks like maybe we've got one on the presentation today that's using Positive Pay. Positive Pay protects your business from that check and electronic transaction fraud. As we know, the fraudsters keep getting smarter and smarter. So although the electronic transfers are more secure and safe, I'm sure in the future they will find ways to attack that as well. But checks primarily, the Positive Pay will put you in control to block those transactions from posting to your account. So you're being proactive versus being reactive. Reduces those risks and losses that are associated with having to be reactive. So how the program works, we set that up in your digital banking. If you've issued checks, you've issued electronic payments, so you would upload a file for the register for that day. The system then matches or tries to match, cross-reference what you have in your register compared to what's clearing. And if there's something that doesn't match, it will be flagged. Each morning you'll need to go out and look through the account, see if there's anything that is flagged by the Positive Pay. And at that time, you then have the option of authorizing the payment to flow through if it's legitimate, or stopping it before it happens. And other ways that can help with identity fraud or theft is just utilizing our e-statements, e-notices. So if there is a notice that we're sending out electronically, you'd have access to that immediately versus waiting for the mail. And then using our custom account alerts, you can set those alerts up to whatever use you need, whatever you feel is going to be helpful to you to send an alert on those accounts. So another good tool. Remote deposit capture is another tool. So if you are a business that, you're not going to be one that says, nope, sorry, we can't accept checks for payment, or you have a customer vendor that's requiring, they don't want to share their bank account information or pay electronically, so they're going to be sending you a check and you're going to accept that. We do have an option for you for that as well, to just make things easier. You'll skip a trip to the bank. You'll install a check scanner in your place of business. The scanner itself is at no cost. Pillar Bank does provide that. We will set up, it's a web-based program, easy access, easy process. You can bank from your place of business. If that is, a bookkeeper that's working for you, if it's in your place of business and office, or if your place of business, you're self-employed, sole proprietor, and you're working from your home, if you really want to, yeah, it could be in your home office, wherever you have that set up, we can get that set for you. Again, you don't have to come to the bank. There's not an actual deposit ticket required, nor just for informational purposes, nor is there a deposit ticket required when you come to a branch to do a deposit. So that can be a money savings for you as well, to not have to order those um, customized deposit tickets. I know several of you on the presentation today do use remote deposit capture, so I'm sure you find it very valuable. The final piece that I was going to share with you today is on business account structuring your accounts for success. And many of you may have been in business for quite some time, so you've got your structure set. Some may be fairly new, or you're just looking at, okay, what is the industry saying out there as far as what's the best way to structure. So the recommendations from trusted different business educators, advisors, and within the industry, the fundamental account structure, it probably seems common sense. You have an operating account, your income's coming in, your expenses are going out. But what they're really strongly advising is to have then that secondary account, that's your profit account, your savings account, where you're putting excess cash, not retaining that excess cash in your operating account. So back in the beginning, we talked about how the reference cash is king, how that reference has changed from having your physical cash as cash in this savings or profit account. So if you have emergencies, you're looking at expanding, that's your cash. That's where cash is king, to have it in your profit account. Um, Other businesses over the last several years have decided to open a separate payroll account. So some of that may have started that they're using the ACH specifically for direct deposit. And so they've opened a separate account specific for payroll, or they have an office assistant that's doing payroll, and they don't want that assistant to be have access to any of their operating account or other accounts. So it's an internal control type um, plan to have that payroll account, all payroll taxes, transfer the funds needed for that payroll period from your operating to the payroll account, and those are covered. Others are doing real estate and or tax accounts, your income tax, property tax, any taxes that are going to be associated with that business, and keeping those separate, putting money in, budgeting it monthly, whatever it is, just to stay ahead of the game. Make sure when that tax time comes, those are there and available to you and separate from your operating. So just a final tip there. So we are ready to look at any questions we may have and get some answers there. So it looks like, again, for the majority of who I see as attendees, I know that some of you are already using our services, but one of the questions out here is, what is the implementation look like? So for anyone new that's on today that is not utilizing our services, we do have an application process for each service type. So ACH, remote deposit capture, bill pay is available to you without application. The reason we obtain an application from you is to make sure we get all the information. What are your deposits going to look like? To keep things secure, we have limits. So if it's outside of that limit, can make exceptions, but keep it within those limits. Helps with security, fraud, who is going to be users, and we do also have an agreement, as there are regulations that fall under both of those programs. So to go through those, and then the installation or adding that to your digital banking profile, or bringing in the remote deposit capture scanner to your place of business. All in all, if we are able to go back and forth, a week would be at most for implementation. Again, I know we're all busy. You guys as business owners are very busy. So it's depending on the availability and how fast we can move that forward. But it's not a long process at all. So that was a good question. Well, again, if you do have questions after the fact, or down the road, my information is on this last slide here. My email, a lot of you already have my email. My direct line can also just call the regular Pillar Bank phone number and select me from the menu. You can also find my contact information at our website at www.pillar.bank. And again, I wanted to thank you again for being with me today. I trust and hope that the information I provided has been some enlightening and offered you a more of a glimpse into how Pillar Bank's Treasury Management Service can enhance your business operations, ensure your efficiencies, and provide valuable safeguards. I encourage you to contact me to arrange a meeting where we can delve into your unique business needs and work together to pinpoint the best solutions for your company, even if you are currently using our services. If you would like to reach out, I invite you to. We can review what you currently have and see if we're utilizing it the best way possible for your business. So again, I thank you for joining me today and enjoy the rest of your day. Looks like we're getting back to a little bit warmer temperatures. So thank you.